जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जन जय गिरिवर जय गिरिवरधारी जय यशोदा नंदन जय जनन जय यशोदा नंदन जय जमुना तीरा जय कुंज बिहारी जय जमुना तीरा जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्रीमद्वैता श्रीवासादि भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम हरे राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम हरे राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम हरे राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय राधा गोविंद श्री राधे जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेव जय सुभद्रा जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय जय जय प्रभुपाद प्रभुपाद जय जय गुरुदेव 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 हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। Hare Krishna, Prabhuji's Mataji's Dandot. I saw messages from few of you but could not respond during the Kirtan. Is the voice better now? Let me hold on 1 second. Is it better now, Prabhuji's Mataji's? Are you able to
Yes,
hear?
yes, Prabhuji.
Okay,
Now
okay,
it's
fine.
better.
All right. So let's start with the Mangalacharan prayers. Hare Krishna. ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरोन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सागरजातां सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णकरुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त श्रीराधाकान्त नमोऽस्तु ते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी श्रीराधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमः ॐ विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, Prabhuji's Mataji's welcome you all to this morning's discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam. 1 second. All right. So we have been discussing this section of wonderful prayers that are being offered by Prithu Maharaj to Lord Vishnu, who appeared in the sacrificial arena of the 100th Ashwamedh Yajna, which was left apparently incomplete by Prithu Maharaj on the instruction of Lord Brahma. And we see Lord Vishnu being completely pleased with the submission to the authorities by Maharaj Prithu. Is here to bless the king. And yesterday we discussed about the proper mood for offering prayers, what sort of prayers a devotee should offer to Lord Krishna. And we discussed examples of various exalted personalities, devotees like Prahlad Maharaj, like Sridhar Kolavich from Chaitanya Charitamrita. And we also discussed the example of the great disciple of Srila Ramanujacharya, Kuresh, who sacrificed his own very eyes for the sake of his Guru Maharaj, and how he was very reluctant to ask for any personal favor, despite being asked by his spiritual master to ask that favor from Lord Varadraj, and finally how Lord was pleased to grant him and restore his vision back. So we will continue that particular section, and maybe we start with a small revision with one particular question from yesterday's discussion. And whoever would want to answer, please raise your hand and we'll request the devotee to unmute. So during the discussion yesterday, we discussed two types of pure devotees that Srila Prabhupada mentions in his writings in various books, including Bhagavad Gita, Srimadbhagavatam. Which are the two types of pure devotees did we discuss? Anyone? Hare Krishna. Don't worry about being wrong. Nobody would judge, but this is just to revise whatever we are discussing, the nitty-gritties, that it is very important that we try to retain. We note it down because one of the demerit of Kali Yuga, Srila Vyasadeva has foreseen is we have all very short memory. So we tend to forget very easily. So it's very important that we note down important points from Bhagavatam discussion. Anyone? Hare Krishna. Which are the two types of pure devotees? Neeraja Mataji, Hare Krishna. Please unmute. Mani Mataji, just make sure everybody is able to unmute. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji,
Hare
pure devotees always wish to be to serve the Lord. In any situation, they want to serve Lord. They don't want any liberation or anything or material desires. They just want to be engaged always in the service of the Lord.
Right, very nice, Mataji. Yes, so this is one type of pure devotees who have already have had their hearts cleansed and they don't have any desire in their life apart from service to pure devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. These are one type of pure devotees. And we also discussed about other type of pure devotees that Srila Prabhupada writes in his writings. Which are the other type of pure devotees? Other type of pure devotees are those who may not have necessarily reached that platform of having their hearts completely cleansed, but they are still striving for the path of pure devotional service and they are in the process of purification. So Srila Prabhupada specifically mentions that these devotees, because of their pure intentions and sincere efforts, in pursuit of pure devotional service, they should also considered as pure devotees. Just the time is separating them from reaching that platform of pure devotional service. So these are the two types of pure devotional service that pure devotees that we had discussed in our discussion yesterday. So in today's verse, Prithu Maharaj, specifically the connection with the last verse is that in the last verse, text 23, Prithu Maharaj had used the quality as Kaivalya Pate to describe the Lord, to address the Lord. And we had discussed how Kaivalyapate means one who is able to grant liberation and liberation to the devotees, because nobody else can do that apart from Lord Vishnu. And in today's verse, Prithu Maharaj is basically, excuse me, Prithu Maharaj is stressing on this particular point that na kamaye nata tadapyaham kvachit, that although you are Kaivalya Pate, although you are able to grant liberation to devotees, I do not aspire for that type of liberation of being merged in your existence. And what is Prithu Maharaj's ask or request from the Lord? That also we will see in the subsequent prayer. So let's recite the verse first. Please try to follow. Repeat. न कामयेनाथ तदप्यहं क्वचिन्
न कामयेन तदप्यक्वचिन्
न यत्र युष्मच्चरणाम्बुजासवः
न यत्र
महत्तमान्तर्हृदयान्मुखच्युतो
महत्तमान्तर्हृदयान्मुखच्युतो
विधत्स्वकर्णायुतमेष मे वरः
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Maybe we'll request one devotee, anyone. Neeraja Mataji, Hare Krishna, you can recite. Quickly. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I was not able to unmute Prabhuji. That's why. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
न कामयेनाथ तदपि अहं क्वचिन्
न कामयेनाथ तदप्यहं क्वचिन्
न यत्र युष्माच्चरणाम्बुजासवः
न यत्र युष्मच्चरणाम्बुजसवः
महत्तमान्तर्हृदयान्मुक्तच्युतो मुखच्युतो
महत्तमान्तर्हृदयान्मुखच्युतो
विधत्स्वकर्णायुतमेष मे वरः
विधत्स्वकर्णायुतमेष मे वरः. Thank you, Mataji. Anyone wants to read through the translation and purport? Prabhuji's
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna Prabhuji, may I?
Yes. Hang on. Srimati Shama Priya Mataji. Yes, Mataji, please continue.
Hare Krishna. Translation purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. My dear Lord, I therefore do not wish to have the benediction of merging into your existence, a benediction in which there is no existence of the nectarian beverage of your lotus feet. I want the benediction of at least 1,000,000 years, for thus I may be able to hear about the glories of your lotus feet from the mouth of your pure devotees. Do you read the purport?
Yes, please.
Purport. In the previous verse, Maharaja Prithu addressed the Lord as Kaivalyapati, the master of the liberation of merging into his existence. This does not mean that he was anxious for Kaivalya liberation. That is made clear in this verse. My dear Lord, I do not want such a benediction. Maharaja Prithu wanted to have 1,000,000 years to hear the glories of the lotus feet of the Lord. He specifically mentioned that the glories of the Lord should emanate from the mouth of pure devotees who speak from the core of their heart. It is stated in the beginning of Srimadbhagavatam 1.1.3, Chukamukhat Amrita Drava Samyuktam. The nectar of Srimadbhagavatam became more reachable because it emanated from the mouth of Srila Shukadev Goswami. One might think that these glories of the Lord can be heard from anywhere, from the mouth of either devotees or non-devotees. But here it is specifically mentioned that the glories of the Lord must emanate from the mouth of pure devotees. Sri Sanatana Goswami has strictly prohibited hearing from the mouth of a non-devotee. There are many professional reciters of Srimad Bhagavatam who speak the narrations very ornamentally, but a pure devotee does not like to hear from them because such glorification of the Lord is simply a vibration of material sound. But when heard from the mouth of a pure devotee, glorification of the Lord is immediately effective. We continue, Prabhuji.
Please. Hare Krishna.
The words Satam Prasangan Mama Vairagya Samvidam, Virya Samvidam, Bhagavatam 3.25.25, mean that glorification of the Lord is potent when uttered from the mouth of a pure devotee. The Lord has innumerable devotees all over the universe, and they have been glorifying the Lord since time immemorial for an unlimited time. But still, they cannot completely finish enumerating the glories of the Lord. Prithu Maharaja therefore wanted innumerable years, as Rupa Goswami also desired to have millions of years and millions of tongues to chant and hear the glorification of the Lord. In other words, if our ears are always engaged in hearing the glorification of the Lord, there will be no scope for hearing the Mayavada philosophy, which is doomed to spiritual progress. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that if anyone hears from the Mayavadi philosopher preaching about the activities of the Lord, even if it is a description from the Vedic literature, it's ultimately doomed. By hearing such Mayavada philosophy, one cannot come to the destination of spiritual perfection of life. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, pranams. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. My dear Lord, I therefore do not wish to have the benediction of merging into your existence, a benediction in which there is no existence of the nectarian beverage of your lotus feet. I want the benediction of at least 1,000,000 years, for thus I may be able to hear about the glories of your lotus feet from the mouths of your pure devotees. So in this particular prayer, Prithu Maharaj is expressing his disapproval for anyone who is praying the Lord for the benediction of merging into the Brahman effulgence. And the reason that Prithu Maharaj is specifically mentioning is that although such existence is eternal, in technical sense, there is no facility, there is no opportunity for rendering service to the lotus feet of the Lord. And without service to the lotus feet, like we saw so many examples of wonderful devotees yesterday, who do not want to even aspire for going back to Godhead, but their main aspiration is wherever they are situated, they should be in the association of devotees and they should be engaged in the Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Wherever they are situated, they should be engaged in the service of the devotees and in the association of devotees. And specifically, Prithu Maharaj, in terms of rendering of his service to the Lord, he is aspiring for having 1,000,000 of years so that he is able to constantly hear the glorification of the Lord, especially from the mouths of pure devotees. So we will try to see, as part of our discussion today, what are the harms, what are the demerits of hearing from the mouth of non-devotees or the Mayavadis. How Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has specifically cautioned devotees against doing this because it can completely destroy the propensity for devotional service in the heart of a devotee if we associate with Mayavadis and hear from them. And specifically in the purport, Srila Prabhupada mentions that even if such Mayavadi philosophers, they are speaking from the Vedic literature, still the description, their interpretation of the Vedic literatures, in turn, rather than nourishing one's devotional service, it destroys the desire for rendering service, devotional service to the Lord. On the other hand, for the devotees, in the first canto, first chapter of Srimadbhagavatam, the example is given of Shukadev Goswami. So the word Shuka, it also means a parrot, and Shukadev Goswami specifically is Srimati Radharani's parrot in the spiritual world. So when a fruit is tasted by a parrot, the fruit, it becomes especially sweeter, fruits like, say for example, guava, amrut. When it is touched by a parrot, it tastes even sweeter, or many other types of fruits. On the other hand, for the Mayavadis or for the non-devotees, whenever they are describing the messages from the Vedic literatures, the example is given that of a milk that is touched by a poisonous snake. So that milk is not suitable for consumption anymore if it has been touched by the tongue of a venomous snake. Similarly, we should be very, very careful what is the source of hearing. Who do we want to hear about Krishna from? So there are quite a few examples that I have shortlisted today. And specifically, we will start with reading Srila Prabhupada's commentary on some of the verses that Srila Prabhupada quotes as part of the purport. What is Satam Prasangan? Satam Prasanga means the good, the best association, the association of the pure devotees. When we hear about Lord Krishna in the association of pure devotees, what is the result of such hearing? So let's try to recite this verse. This is a very famous verse which comes in the teachings of Lord Kapila to his mother Devotee. So this is, some of you might have already known this verse. Please try to repeat. Satam prasangan mama virya samvido.
Satam
Satam
prasangan
prasangan
mama
mama
virya
virya
samvido.
samvido. Bhavanti rutkarna rasayana kataha.
Bhavanti
Bhavanti
ritkarna
ritkarmanaya
rasayana
kathaha
katha.
Tajjoshanadat shwapa Tajjoshanadat apavargavartmani.
Tajjoshanadatshva
tajjoshanadat
apavargavartmani.
Apavargavartmani.
apavargavartamani
Shraddharatirbhaktir anukramishyati.
Shraddha
Shraddha
ratir
bhaktir
bhaktir
anukramishati.
kramishyati.
Can we have a volunteer to read through this translation and purport? This is a very important verse. So, Supriti Keshavi Mataji, Hare Krishna. And rest of you who want to read through, just keep your hands raised. I will subsequently request you one by one. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Supriti
Krishna.
Mataji, please continue.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Prabhupada Ki Jai. In the association of pure devotees, discussion of the pastimes and activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is very pleasing and satisfying to the ear and the heart. By cultivating such knowledge, one gradually becomes advanced on the path of liberation, and thereafter he is freed and his attraction becomes fixed. Then real devotion and devotional service begin.
Continue, purport.
Purport. The process of advancing in Krishna consciousness and devotional service is described here. The first point is that one must seek association of persons who are Krishna conscious and who engage in devotional service. Without such association, one cannot make advancement. Simply by theoretical knowledge or study, one cannot make any appreciable advancement. One must give up the association of materialistic persons and seek the association of devotees, because without association of devotees, one cannot understand the activities of the Lord. Generally, people are convinced of the impersonal feature of the absolute truth, but they do not associate with devotees. They cannot understand the absolute truth can be a person and have personal activities. This is a very difficult subject matter, and unless one has personal understanding of the absolute truth, there is no meaning to devotion. Service or devotion cannot be offered to anything impersonal. Service must be offered to a person. Non-devotees cannot appreciate Krishna consciousness by reading the Srimad-Bhagavatam or any other Vedic literature wherein the activities of the Lord are described. They think that these activities are fictional, manufacture stories, because spiritual life is not explained to them in a proper mood. To understand the personal activities of the Lord, one has to seek the association of devotees, and by such association, when one contemplates and tries to understand the transcendental activities of the Lord, the path to liberation is open and he is freed. One who has firm faith in the Supreme Personality of Godhead becomes fixed, and his attraction for association with the Lord and the devotees increases. Association with devotees means association with the Lord. The devotee who makes this association develops the consciousness for rendering service to the Lord, and then, being situated in the transcendental position of the devotional service, he gradually becomes perfect. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So we see the effect of associating with devotees and hearing in their association. It is explained in various places,
Kamla,
including. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. It is mentioned in the second chapter of first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam that our heart becomes completely purified if we hear in the association of devotees, and here it is mentioned, then one's desire for rendering service to the Lord will be awakened. What happens, on the other hand, if we hear in the association of non-devotees, or what to speak of hearing, even just the association of non-devotees, it takes one away from the service to the Lord. And there are very glaring, very graphic examples that we see coming out in the scriptures from the life of various personalities. So yesterday we were discussing about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went for South India Yatra, one of, basically he wanted to go on his own, but devotees including Lord Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Acharya and others, they requested the Lord that you will be busy, my dear Lord, in chanting and singing the holy names of the Lord, and there let there be one assistant who can take care of your belongings, who can make sure that you have a fresh set of clothing to wear, and make sure that he is there to assist you wherever required. So they assigned one particular devotee, Kala Krishna Das, to help and serve the Lord as his personal assistant during the South India tour. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu agreed at the request of these devotees. And when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was traveling through the South India Yatra, he came across a group of a tribe of people who were completely engaged in sense gratification and in breaking the regulatory principles. And just to show how influential negatively is this association of non-devotees, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he manifested a very specific incident that his own personal assistant, Kala Krishna Das, who was in the personal association of none other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, in the form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he got influenced by the bad association of these Bhattaharis to the extent that he completely forgot and left the service that was assigned to him, which was as the personal assistant, being the personal assistant of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he became part of this tribe and engaged in all types of non-devotional activities, even breaking the regulatory principles. And finally, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had to personally go and face the resistance of the Bhattaharis. In fact, when Bhattaharis tried to attack Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, being Krishna, he arranged in such a way that they were defeated, and finally Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rescued Kala Krishna Das from their association and brought him back to his service. And subsequently the yatra continued, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he returned to Jagannath Puri, he handed over Kala Krishna Das to the devotees, Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Acharya, and so on and so forth, and mentioned to them that, look, my dear devotees, you had asked me to take with me a personal assistant for my service, but instead of this devotee serving me, I had to take the trouble of going out of the way to serve and protect this devotee because he had gotten into bad association of this Bhattaharis tribe and had gone astray, and he had even left service as the personal assistant of me. And Kalakrishna Das was greatly heartbroken hearing this, that how he has caused such discomfort and even disservice to Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and because of him being influenced by that association. So many a times we hear that how all of us must be very careful about associating with devotees so as to be protected from Maya and not be influenced by Maya into the path of materialistic enjoyment. We see that this association is so strong that even a person in the close association of the Supreme Lord can be influenced as well by Maya's association. What to speak of any one of us. So we have to be very, very careful. And there also comes a wonderful description in Madhya Leela of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrut. And for the time constraint, we won't have the opportunity to read through all these wonderful translations, but we will try to describe this particular episode in summary form, and all of you can read through at your leisure. So this incident happens when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was visiting Varanasi, the city of Varanasi, Kashi. That time, one particular Brahmana, he approached one great Mayavadi leader in Varanasi. His name was Prakashananda Saraswati. And Prakashananda Saraswati was not an ordinary leader. He was a Mayavadi leader of highest stature from that particular sampradaya, and he had 60,000 of his disciples. And because of having this great following and his attachment to the Mayavad path, his conception about Mayavad versus Vaishnavism was also very staunch. When this Brahmana described to this Mayavadi leader Prakashananda Saraswati about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, let's see what was his reaction. So this Brahmana described to Prakashananda Saraswati about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There is a sannyasi who has come from Jagannath Puri, and I cannot describe his wonderful influence and glories. And he describes Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in great detail, that how he is constantly engaged in ecstatically chanting about Lord Krishna and the transcendental symptoms that he exhibits on his body while chanting those holy names. And he mentions that those symptoms in the body of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they are exactly consistent with the symptoms given in Srimad Bhagavatam of a first class devotee, of a Uttama Adhikari Bhakta, and they are manifest in Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and how he is constantly chanting, dancing, etc. And while Srila Prakashananda Saraswati, the Mayavadi scholar and the leader, he patiently heard this Brahmana out describing the glories of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. What was the effect of hearing that glorification? He was not at all affected in a positive manner. In fact, he laughed at that description of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu from the Brahmana. He derided the position of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by saying, "Yes, I have heard about him. He is a sannyasi from Bengal and he is very sentimental. I have also heard that he belongs to the Bharati Sampradaya, for he is a disciple of Keshava Bharati. However, he is only pretender. I know that his name is Chaitanya and that he is accompanied by many sentimentalists. His followers dance with him and he tours from country to country, village to village." And when this minimizing of the position of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was heard by this Brahmana, he felt great dissatisfaction and he became very morose within his heart, that how can somebody be that detrimental to hearing the glories of the Lord, and that insensitive and being that offensive in minimizing his position. And specifically, the Brahmana does observe that throughout his description, whenever the Brahmana was describing about Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu constantly chanting Krishna's name, not a single time Prakashananda Saraswati Thakur could Prakashananda Saraswati could repeat that word Krishna. Although he could chant Chaitanya few times while referring to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, not a single time he could chant the holy name of Krishna. And this Brahmana narrated this whole incident to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. One second. Yeah. When the Brahmana heard Prakashananda Saraswati speak like this about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he became very much grief stricken. Chanting the holy name of Krishna he immediately left. The mind of the Brahmana was already purified by his seeing the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He therefore went to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and described what had taken place before the Mayavadi sannyasi Prakashananda. Hearing this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mildly smiled, and the Brahmana then spoke to the Lord as follows. The Brahmana said, as soon as I uttered your name before him, he immediately confirmed the fact that he knew your name. While finding fault with you, he uttered your name 3 times, saying Chaitanya. He did not utter the name Krishna because he uttered your name in contempt. I was very much aggrieved. Why could Prakashananda not utter the names of Krishna and Hari? He chanted Chaitanya thrice. And then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replies that the Mayavadi impersonalists, they are great offenders unto Lord Krishna. Therefore, they simply utter the words Brahman, Atma, and Chaitanya. Because they are offenders unto Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is identical with his holy name, the holy name Krishna does not manifest in their mouths. So, this is the specific quality of the Mayavadis, that these people, they deny the existence of the personality of Lord Krishna. So, they completely believe in the existence of God, but they deny the personality of the Supreme Lord, considering him just as the supreme power, a unmanifested one, not in the Satchit Ananda form. And as a result of such Mayavadis denying the personality of Lord Krishna and thus causing great offense, it is very, very difficult for them what to speak of rendering devotional service to Lord Krishna. They cannot even utter the name of Lord Krishna. It is very, very difficult for them unless they have got some Sukruti. And the pastime proceeds where we further see how Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu completely transformed the heart of this great Mayavadi leader, Prakashananda Saraswati, by engaging him in a subtle way in rendering of service to the Lord, by which he will get sukruti and his heart will be suitable place to receive devotional service. So just to describe briefly, so one time there was a gathering of all the great sannyasis invited by Prakashananda Saraswati in Varanasi, and Lord Chaitanya, he being there, he was also invited and he went there. However, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu deliberately went and sat down at the place, at a lowly place where the sannyasis would wash their hands and feet. And while he was sitting in that place, because of his effulgence, being the supreme personality of Godhead, his body started emanating that effulgence. And these Mayavadi sannyasis, they are very, very influenced by the effulgence from the body of the Lord, the Brahman effulgence. And when Prakashananda Saraswati saw this bright effulgent sannyasi sitting at the uh, lower place where the sannyasis would wash their hands and feet, Prakashananda Saraswati requested Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to come and sit on the raised platform which was meant for the sannyasis. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu refused, saying, I am not qualified. And then Prakashananda Saraswati personally lovingly held the hand of this sannyasi Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and brought him to the raised platform. And this small service rendered by Prakashananda Saraswati to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gradually made his heart fertile, and subsequently, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu completely smashed all the Mayavadi misconceptions that Prakashananda Saraswati had by giving accurate references from the scriptures, quoting the scriptures, and completely defeating Prakashananda Saraswati. And subsequently, his heart transformed, and he, along with his 60,000 disciples, they surrendered to Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and became great devotees of the Lord. And even in the earlier pastime, I forgot to mention, although this particular personal assistant, Kala Krishna Das, had left the service to the Lord and subsequently was pulled by the Lord by his Shikha and brought back in devotional service, the devotees were so merciful that they engaged him in the service of the Lord by going to Bengal and describing the descriptions of South India Yatra of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Sachimata and all other devotees in Bengal. So we see throughout the life of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu how he transformed the hearts of these impersonalists like Prakashananda Saraswati by giving them knowingly or unknowingly sukruti of rendering devotional service to the Lord or to the devotees, and by that sukruti they could take up the they could come to the platform of devotional service. We see another glaring example again from life of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, where he shows in a uh, graphic, in a very emphatic way, how one should be very careful about not associating with such persons. Now, some of you can ask that on one side, you are saying that we should be very careful not to associate with Mayavadis, but we see Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is personally going and joining that assembly of the Mayavadis led by Prakashananda Saraswati. So we can give them our association, we can try to give them Krishna if we have that empowerment from the Lord and we have that faith in the holy name, and we can make sure that we are not influenced by their association. So giving them association is one thing, but we should be very careful not to accept their association, otherwise it will destroy the propensity to render service to Lord Krishna. So, in the Mahaprakash Leela that we were talking about yesterday, there was one devotee of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu whose name was Mukunda. And we saw how so many devotees were getting the mercy of the Lord, including Dukhi, the maidservant of Shiva's Thakur, who subsequently became Sukhi, who subsequently became most blissful and beautiful by the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then he also gave his blessings to so many devotees, including Srila Haridas Thakur, including Sridhar Kolavej, including Srivas Thakur, Ganga Das Chakravarti, and so on, Ganga Narayan Chakravarti, so on and so forth. There was one particular devotee, Mukunda, when everybody else got the mercy, devotees asked Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, "My dear Lord, you have called all different devotees one by one, but you have not called for Mukunda. Why so? Can we call Mukunda so that he can also get your mercy?" And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu immediately, externally, he showed a very stern stance and to the devotees, and he angrily said, "Mukunda, he is my offender." And devotees became very shocked that how can Mukunda, who was one of the friends and associates of the Lord from very earlier on, how can Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu consider him as an offender? And then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained that although in the association of devotees, Mukunda comes and chants with all of us, but outside, he also goes and joins the association and assembly of Mayavadis and hears Mayavad from them. So it is like on one hand, he serves my lotus feet, and on the other hand, he beats my head with a stick on my head. And so in this way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu shows that how Mayavadi offenders, they are literally like as good as beating the Lord on his head with a stick. And then subsequently, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in order to show Mukunda's glories in a subtle way, he mentions that Mukunda is not going to get the mercy of the Supreme Lord for next 10 million lifetimes. And Mukunda, who was standing outside Shiva's Thakur's home, who was earlier completely heartbroken by hearing how he has displeased the Lord by associating with the Mayavadis and joining their assemblies. But when he hears that he is going to get the mercy of the Lord in 10 million lifetimes, he completely becomes ecstatic and starts dancing in great jubilation. And devotees are awestruck that how can such a person who would have to wait for 10 million lifetimes to achieve the grace of the Lord, he can be so ecstatic. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu basically wanted to show the great quality of a devotee in terms of having sufficient patience to attain Lord Krishna and being ready to endure anything that is needed, render devotional service to the Lord life after life for 10 million births, even if that is what it takes to achieve the grace of Lord Krishna. And then when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw Mukunda ecstatic, in after hearing this, he asked for devotees to bring Mukunda in the assembly in the house of Srivas Thakur. And then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embraced Mukunda and granted him his mercy immediately. So the point is, there are various teachings from this particular pastime. One important point is how hearing from the Mayavadis who deny the existence of the personality of the Lord is very, very detrimental for our devotional service, because it destroys the mentality to render any service to the Lord. It's like we will gradually be out of the association of devotees and out of devotional service itself if we hear from them. And there are so many quotations from the Lord where he mentions, where is that verse? He mentions that those who associate with Mayavadis, their devotional service will completely be destroyed. And hang on one second. There is one particular verse in this particular chapter itself where Lord Chaitanya mentions what is the true quality of a devotee. What does a devotee mean? And this principle is also stressed by Srila Rupa Goswami in Nectar of Devotion. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mentions Asat Sangatya Yei Vaishnava Achar. That means one of the important qualities of a devotee is that not only should we make full efforts to associate with devotees, to hear in their association, but we should be very careful to avoid the association of ordinary people, specifically the non-devotees. Asat Sangatya, Srila Prabhupada translates in the translation as rejecting the association of non-devotees. So we should be very careful. And many of you might say that, Prabhuji, we are working in the outside world. So invariably, we do have to take the association of non-devotees, but we need to make sure in this particular aspect that we keep our sadhana, like especially the morning program, so strong that we are equipped to deal with that association during the day and not be influenced by Maya, so that we are able to give them our association but not be influenced by their association. So it is like morning program is like a armor for a devotee. Like if we want to drive on a highway on a two-wheeler, then we must wear helmet, or if we are driving a car, we must wear seat belts. So morning program, hearing in the association of devotees is like wearing that helmet while riding a bike on a highway, or wearing the seat belt while driving a car on a highway. It will protect us from the influence of such non-devotees and will keep our Krishna consciousness, our tendency, our desire to serve Krishna intact. Otherwise, we will be lost in outside world. So with this, we will stop our discussion on this very important aspect of what are the dangers of hearing from non-devotees, from Mayavadis, and what are the benefits of hearing from the mouth of a pure devotee. And we will open the discussion to the floor. Are there any devotees who have got any questions, comments, thoughts to share? Hare Krishna. Prabhuji's, Mataji's, or any of the queries from any of these wonderful stories that we saw from scriptures from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Hare Krishna. Hema Mataji, please unmute. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, everyone. Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat.
Prabhuji, it's very nice class. You just gave a clear picture of differentiation between a pure devotee and how we can take the association. So, but my question is that though you explain it very beautifully, but when the question comes that we have to bring it into the practice, so a lot of meditation, mind meditation is to be done. है ना? So this practical application tools, can you give some some tips of that.
Very important and practical question, Hema Mataji. Thank you for raising this. One very important practical tip, like as I mentioned, is having a very solid morning program, and specifically within morning program or throughout our day, one very important thing we should do is have some dedicated time, say half an hour, 1 hour, what we can devote to regularly have reading of Srila Prabhupada's books. My personal experience is that if we are regularly reading from Srila Prabhupada's books, our intelligence will always remain sharp. And Srila Prabhupada describes intelligence as the power of discretion, to know what is right, what is wrong. If our spiritual intelligence is very sharp, then whatever we hear which is not consistent with the teachings of Lord Krishna or as per the scriptural injunctions, that spiritual intelligence will protect us from that wrong association or from that bad hearing. And if our spiritual intelligence is not strong, then it will be like a hodgepodge understanding. Like sometimes, say, for example, even in my parents' case, sometimes they will visit holy places and will say that, okay, we are going to hear from this personality, that personality. So, despite telling them so many times that we have to be very careful about who we are hearing from, whether he's coming from proper authorized disciplic succession, it still does not befall upon them the seriousness that if we are hearing from any Tom, Dick, and Harry, even if they are talking about Krishna, if they are not coming in proper disciplic succession, that hearing can be detrimental for our spiritual life. It basically, they will say yes, yes, whenever I am explaining, but when it comes to the application part, because that regular association of devotees is not there or reading of Srila Prabhupada's books is not there, that spiritual intelligence does not remain that strong. So this is one practical tip, Mataji.
Yes,
Regularly
correct.
refer to Srila Prabhupada's
Hmm.
books
But
and
one
have,
question related
yeah,
to it is that, Prabhuji, in the ISKCON, we are being taught to have the Shravanam, that is hearing, which you pinpointed. That is very nice. But sometimes the program of the ISKCON is so packed, like 2 hours chanting for the 16 Mala Japa people. And then we are attending Mangal Aarti regularly. And then we attend the Bhagavatam class of 1 hour. So 2 plus 1, 3, 3.5. So sometimes it becomes so packed, Shravanam, that is hearing, that the reading and the hearing, sometimes I am asking about myself how to make it balanced. Okay, like sometimes hearing is more and reading part we do less. So
yeah.
earlier I was reading more. As soon as I came in the ISKCON, my reading is less. Shravanam is more. So I'm not of the Satyuga person that everything can be imbibed in the brain immediately, like previous time it used to happen. So how to balance this Shravanam and hearing?
So hearing, So
Because
hearing,
when we read now, everything is being absorbed in the morning time only, that you know. Kanthastha, everything we used to keep it in the memory, like memorizing power is more at the morning time. But we used to give morning time up to 9:30, 10 o'clock here in the ISKCON. So how to balance it? Just give the tip about that.
very nice question. See, first of all, hearing is also very important and it is definitely purifying, hearing in the association of devotees. So continue with that. And to improve the reading part, we have to see, like, time is such a thing, commodity, that it is same available to everyone 24 hours. So we have to see where is that time window which I can really squeeze out. I'll give you a few practical tips. Like one thing you can consider is keeping Srila Prabhupada's books handy in the on Kindle, for example, Amazon Kindle. So I practically use that and find it very useful. So that whenever, say, I'm traveling in a train or spending some time where I am not actively doing anything, basically travel, that I can utilize for reading. Or there is one more option I can suggest. There is also Bhaktivedanta Book Trust, BBT, which is the sister firm of ISKCON, responsible for publishing all of Srila Prabhupada's books. They have come up with a very nice app called Transcend, Transcend, Transcend. And in that app, they have provided the audio of all audio of reading for all of Srila Prabhupada's books. So I am personally I am considering whether to purchase that. It costs around 7,000, but even if I give it as a donation, but it's like, say, for example, a book like Ishopnishad, that reading can be completed in 2.5 hours of hearing that audio because complete book is available in the audio format. So if we give sincere thought, Krishna will give quite a few options how that reading can be improved. Is that all right, Hema Mataji?
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare
Hare
Krishna. Dandavat
Krishna.
Pranam.
Dandavats Mataji. Hi, iPhone Prabhuji Mataji. Hare Krishna. Please
Hare,
unmute.
yes, Hare Krishna Prabhu. I'm Shubha Malli.
Shubhamali
Very,
Mataji.
yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna Prabhu. Very enlightening class, Prabhu. Nice to hear you. And I want to know when some people like you and we, being spiritual, I mean, sadhana we are doing, but still sometimes in our daily routine and surrounding people, friends at home also, so many people are not completely into it and it disturbs our mind. And we have to give a little time to them also. But what happens, Prabhu, though you are physically there, mentally you're completely into yourself, that can be understood by the opposite party, like, the members. So that time, how we have to, balance things and tell them that I am with you. Okay, I like this, but still I am with you. Because what happens will be left over. So we also feel, yes, we are not, somewhere we feel, okay, we are not giving more time to our family, because completely family members won't be spiritually interested. Some they do, like going to the temple, taking prasadam and chanting, everything they do. But nowadays the world is so this one, when you go out of the house you have to mix with people. But being with everybody, how you can be with the, remembrance of Krishna? Can you give me the tip, Prabhu, for this? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So there are two aspects to your question, Mataji. One is in terms of giving quality time to our near and dear ones, including the family members. So if we have good sadhana, Krishna will definitely offer that protection from Maya throughout the day. But we should also remember that giving our best to our near and dear ones is also one of the forms of service to Lord Krishna
Yes.
based on the responsibilities that we have accepted. I cannot say that I will be a very nice devotee, but when it comes to taking care of my wife, taking care of my children, I will just leave them to Lord Krishna's mercy. No,
Mm-hmm.
Krishna's mercy will manifest to them in the form of how we deal with them. And there is a very nice saying in English where it is mentioned that our actions speak louder than our words. That means we are doing our devotional service perfectly, but in terms of our dealings with the outside world, if those dealings are not consistent with the philosophy that we are learning, that we are trying to practice, then that philosophy is not much of value. People will say, like my spouse or children will say, look, he's telling big things, but when it comes to dealing with us he's so harsh or so rude or so insensitive. Then those people will perceive Krishna consciousness in that particular way, that because this person has started practicing Krishna consciousness, his dealings have become in this particular manner. So in order to keep the dignity and honor of the movement of the parampara that we are representing, it is very important we try to give them our level best without ourselves being affected by Maya's influence. So, if, say, for example, if I am discussing with my mother, for example, I will definitely discuss about her health, about how her near and dear ones are doing, how the social circle is set up, whether she is comfortable, and will make sure that my conversation with her is as a loving son and not necessarily try to preach her in any way and every way at every single incident. So, and we can see one example of such from a life of a great devotee, life of Srila Sanatan Goswami, one of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. It is explained that he had such great rapport and one-to-one personal relationship with all the Brajavasis that whenever he used to meet Brajavasi, he used to inquire them, how are your children doing? Is your grown-up daughter married? Is the marriage getting fixed properly? How is your agriculture doing? and how are the cattle and everything. So he used to ask about their day-to-day welfare as well. And because of that personal touch with the common people, Sanatan Goswami had become so dear to the Brajavasis that even today, on the day of disappearance day of Sanatan Goswami, the largest gathering of Brajavasis is there to perform the Govardhan Parikrama in his honor on the disappearance day of Sanatan Goswami on Guru Purnima. So the point is, if we are practicing Krishna consciousness properly, one of the empowerment that Krishna will do is also the spiritual intelligence, which in terms of how do we interact, how do we deal with different people around them, where through our behavior they gradually become inspired to take up to Krishna, but not take them away from Lord Krishna. Shubha Mataji, please unmute. Hare Krishna. Is this all right? You have any queries, question on this? Hare Krishna. Mani
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare
Thank you so
Krishna.
much, Prabhu. You
Hare
relieved me
Krishna.
a lot. And I just want to know one more question, Prabhu.
Hmm.
Like some people want to do materially also. Yes, I do. And spiritually also, I follow some things like all this going to the temple and,
Hmm.
chanting everything. But when they get into some other, like, they will be having some association. Yes, they are trying to be little away from that bad association or any other materially association, but still are they be into the Mayavadi kind, Prabhu, or how to avoid that?
Even if they are, the first step of we giving them Krishna is not to tell them the don'ts. We just tell them whatever you are doing, continue, just add this particular aspect of Krishna consciousness. Just chant one round of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, read Srila Prabhupada's books, or we read for them for 15 minutes, and gradually Krishna, Srila Prabhupada give them opportunity to act, to transform the hearts of these people. Right?
Okay.
So whatever they are doing, don't disturb them. Just
Okay.
try to add Krishna consciousness in whatever way they are
Yes.
ready to accept. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Mohan Naik, Mataji, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, please unmute.
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी, दंडवत
Hare
प्रणाम. हरे कृष्णा टू
Dandavats.
एवरी डिवोटी.
Hare Krishna.
प्रभु जी, एक थोड़ा सा लंबा क्वेश्चन है. इट्स अ बिग क्वेश्चन. फर्स्ट आई विल एक्सप्लेन यू द कॉन्टेक्स्ट. सी प्रभु जी, इन आवर मटेरियल वर्ल्ड वी हैव द्वंद्व,
Yes.
materialistically good things, materialistically bad things. So whatever our indriyas are feeling good, truptikar, we call it as a good thing in materialistically, right? And whatever our indriyas are getting pain, we call it as a bad thing. Okay, but in our Shastra, if we read Prabhupada's books, in that Acharya Srila Prabhupada says that there are three gunas, Sattva, Raja and Tama, and they are constantly superimposing each other. Sometimes Sattva is high, sometimes Raja and Tama is high. So when Sattva will be high, we will be having humility in us, we will be doing things which are Sukhakar and Anandadayi to others. At the same time, in the same life, sometimes Sattva can be superimposed by Raja and Tamagun in the same individual. At that time, that individual can become Agyani and end up in doing something which might trouble others or which might give hurt to others. Now, this is the context that I had in my mind. At the same time, Prabhu Shri Krishna says in two shlokas, which created this question in my mind, that one is Mattaha Parataram Nanyat Asti Kinchit Dhananjaya. So everything is me. There is nothing separate or different than me. And secondary is Maya Adhyakshena Prakriti Suyate Sa Chiracharam. I am only the controller. With my Adhyakshata, my instruction, only this Maya is working. So whether this Dvandva, that is good thing, and the bad thing that is happening in this world, any human being is getting indulging in violence, hatred, at the same time, in loving activities, in serviceful activities, both the activities are created and done by Sri Krishna through this body, or there is some other explanation. Because a person sometimes, even a devotee might experience that they are chanting, they are doing, and they are Sattvagun Pradhan most of the time, but sometimes when Rajatama is very high because of the Prakriti's nature, even a devotee can end up in, doing something which might hurt others, and then the devotee can become guilty. So Srila Prabhupada also says that a person who considers himself as the Karta and does the Shoka, that is enter into grief, considering that he is the Karta, is a fool. So is it the right explanation that whether materialistically good thing or bad thing happening through this body, we have to just stay surrendered to Sri Krishna and don't do grief or anything like that? Am I thinking correctly?
So, few aspects of your question, Mohal Toji, thank you for asking this. One aspect is whatever good things and bad things happen, is it Lord Krishna arranging them? The answer is no. The correct way to look at it is Lord Krishna is simply sanctioning the different desires of the living entities. And they may be good desires, they may be bad desires. And we might question, why does Lord sanction bad desires? Because he is the loving father who wants us to learn our lessons ourselves. And when we learn our lessons, then gradually come back to him. Second aspect is, what do we do? Say, consider ourselves as the case where we are constantly being influenced by the three modes of material nature, even as the practicing devotees. How do we deal with it? One important aspect is we have to first acknowledge that we are not yet pure. There are many anarthas within our heart. And as a practicing devotee, one of the different steps of devotional service is anartha nivrutti, where we have to cleanse our heart of all these anarthas. So till the time it happens, we have to also take some practical means to deal with those anarthas. For example, say if I am angry or if I am upset about something, one thing I definitely follow is not to take any immediate decision, not to immediately speak anything to express myself, because I know most likely that particular words that will come out of the mind would upset somebody else or would cause more harms in my relationship than doing any favor. So hold on. Or some devote, like say for example, if we are too agitated or we don't know what to do, what not to do, at least chant one round of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Let the mind calm down by the power of the holy name, and then Krishna will give spiritual intelligence what is right, what is wrong. We should not act in an impulsive way. If there is any strong provocation, we should simply try to hold on and give ourselves some time before things calm down, and when we are in a sanity, when we are in a sane state to make a decision. So, first point, whether Krishna is making it happen, not at all. It is our desires which as per Bhagavad Gita are causing all these actions, Krishna being simply the sanctioner. And because the soul is the ultimately performing these actions under the influence of the three modes, we are responsible for those actions, both the good and bad. And last particular point is the outlook of looking towards what is good and what is bad should not necessarily be on the level of material outcome. It should be for a devotee what is good, whatever is helping us to remember Krishna, advance in our Krishna consciousness, that is good, that should be accepted. And whatever is causing ignorance or forgetfulness of Lord Krishna, whatever is taking us away from devotional service, is bad for us. That should be the criteria for good and bad. That means even if something is non-palatable or not interesting to us, but if that thing is helping me in my Krishna consciousness, then I should still accept it. And even if something is very pleasing to my senses, I enjoy doing it. But if it is detrimental for my Krishna consciousness, I should try to avoid it. I should try to protect my Krishna consciousness from indulging in that. I should try to take shelter of devotees. So that should be the criteria, Prabhuji. So did I answer your question in 2, 3?
Prabhuji, in the same answer that you gave me, there was another doubt. As you said that we shouldn't be impulsive, we should be trying to control ourselves instead of being impulsive. So in that case, Prabhuji, if we read many of the our Shastras and Puranas, even the Param Vaishnavanam Shambhu and other our biggest Bhagavad Bhakta and Vaishnav Bhakta also, sometimes they also ended up doing some things which looks externally to us through our apurna indriya and buddhi that it was impulsive. Like for example, Shankar Mahadev and Ganpati Prabhu's,
The
all
past
those
time.
things.
Yeah.
Number one. Number two, pastime is Brahma Prabhu, Brahmadev Swayam through the creation of his own creation, a female
Getting attracted.
creation.
Yeah.
There also there is a pastime. Thirdly, in Ramcharitamanas also Narad Muni got under the influence of the Maya, and he also started cursing Prabhu Shri Krishna. So that's why Ram Avatar came into existence, because of the same curse that given by Narad Muni, and Prabhu, by merciful nature, he accepted it. So if such great devotees not able to control that impulsive nature, is it that that impulsive nature is also not in our hands? Because Prabhu Shri Krishna Swayam says, no, Maya Dyakshena Prakriti. So are
But
we that powerful to control that impulse, or is it?
we definitely have the empowerment and protection of Lord Krishna, where we can control that impulse. In the same verses that you are quoting from Bhagavad Gita, Krishna also mentions Mam evaye prapadyante mayam etam tarantite. That means those who surrender to Lord Krishna can cross over Maya. And the examples that you gave of the great devotees, pure devotees of the Lord, sometimes getting astray, it is just to show how powerful Maya is and to make ourselves very cautious, very careful about dealing with it. But they are definitely great souls. That's why they are at that particular position. So we should consider that particular pastime just to understand how powerful Maya is. And having that constructive fear of Maya, and at the same time taking the remedies, taking the medication that we discussed, including daily association with devotees, strong morning program, reading of Srila Prabhupada's books regularly, that will keep us protected. But do the devotees have the power to deal with Maya? Definitely yes, if we take shelter of Krishna. It is possible. We see the positive examples. See the example of Haridas Thakur. When Maya personified tried to allure him, he could keep her at bay. Not only keep her at bay, he made her into pure devotee by granting initiation. So definitely it is possible. And while we should have constructive fear of Maya, we should not feel overwhelmed. It is definitely possible to deal with it.
Yes,
Is that
Prabhuji.
all
And
right?
one last question. Even if trying our best, as you said, which when there is some problem, some issue, and we chant one round at least, and we try our best not to, get impulsive and those things. Still, it is observed sometimes that our tries are not able to sometimes control the Maya, and sometimes devotee end up. So after such things happen, which shouldn't have happened, a devotee, should he be considering himself as the karta and be in a depressed grief state, or what should be the further action?
Yeah, so being too much struck with lamentation, grief is what Lord Krishna mentions also another attack of Maya in Bhagavad Gita. So while we try to avoid it, like as you mentioned, by chanting one round or reading Srila Prabhupada book and making sure we don't take any action immediately at that point in time, we hold on sufficiently. Even if it takes 12 hours, 24 hours, few days, fine, we don't act immediately on the impulse. But if still because of our misgivings and earlier anarthas, some wrong behavior does happen, we should try to rectify it by first, like there are various ways. One is we should have a confidence, we should have a heart to heart devotee friends or our authorities in whom we can open up, admit. So first part of the problem is acknowledging that, and second is acting on it. Even if we are committing mistake, the same mistake should not be committed second time, third time. At least that must we should avoid. If there is another mistake that is happening, we will deal with it. But if the same mistake is happening again and again, that means there is some serious problem in how we are dealing with it.
Prabhuji, what is the reference of that shloka?
Uh,
Which you said the grief and shog itself is a attack of Maya in Bhagavad Gita.
I'll share
Just
it on the group. I'll share it on the group.
okay, Prabhuji. Just wanted to read
Yeah,
it
sure,
extra.
sure,
Yeah.
sure.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you very
Hare
much. Your
Krishna, Hare
explanation was
Krishna,
very good. Thank you. Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna. So my apologies, Prabhuji's, Mataji's. It went for quite a long today. And if there is no other question, comment, then thank you all for your inspiring association. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंतकोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, विष्णु ठाकुर की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय।
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Thank
Prabhuji.
you
Hare
so much,
Krishna.
Mataji.
Dandavat
Hare
Pranam.
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.